Hello, brothers and sisters in Christ. Quick news update. Everything is good in the land of the flooded lands. No lands flood. It's catastrophe is over. The rain's gone. And damage has been done, and people are picking up the pieces and just moving on. It rhymes. So the last video / song was kind of depressing. It was more of a social commentary about whatever. Anyway, moving on, and thought I'd share some passages from this book that I love called Women Who Run to the Wolves, Myths and Stories of the Wild Woman Archetype by Clarissa Pinkola Estes. Clarissa Pinkola Estes. Yes. So this chapter is called Renewing the Creative Fire. The creative fire! 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 Okay, let's do this. Okay? So now, let us imagine that we have everything all together. We are clear about our intention. We are not drowning in escapist fantasy. We are integrated and our creative life flourishes. We need one more attribute. We need to know what to do. Not if, but when we lose focus. That is, when we wear down for a time. What? After all this work, we might lose our focus? Yes, it will only be lost temporarily, but it is the natural order. Fortunately, the rustic people of Eastern Europe have thought this all out for us. They have a wonderful fairy tale about it called The Three Golden Hairs. This is a story that tellers have given to people for hundreds and perhaps thousands of years, for it represents an archetype. That is, the nature of archetypes. They leave an evidence. They wend their way into the stories, dreams, and ideas of mortals. There, they become a universal theme, a set of instructions, dwelling who knows where, but crossing time and space to enliven each new generation. There is a saying that stories have wings. They can fly over the Carpathian Mountains and lodge into the Urals. Then they vault over to the Sierras and follow its spine over and hop to the Rockies, and so on. This version of the Three Gold Hairs is Romanian. There are Teutonic and Celtic versions as well. It is known too in the borderlands and the high country desert that covers parts of Mexico and the United States. It is a story about how to regain focus once you've lost it. Focus is comprised of sensing, hearing, and following the instructions of the soul voice. Many women are quite good at focusing, but when they lose touch of it, they become scattered like a featherbed burst all over the countryside. Too true, man. It is important to have a container for all that we sense and hear from the wild nature. For some women, it is their journals where they keep track of every feather that flies by. For others, it is the creative art. They dance it, paint it, make it into a script. Remember Baba Yaga? She has a big pot. She moves through the sky in a cauldron that is actually a pestle and a mortar. In other words, she has a container to put things in. She has a way of thinking, a way of moving from one place to another that is contained. Yes, containment is the solution to the problem of all loss of energy. That, and one more thing. Let's see. The Three Gold Hairs. Once, when it was deepest, darkest night, the kind of night when the land is black and the trees look like gnarled hands and the sky is dark midnight blue, an old man staggered through the forest, half blinded by the limbs of trees. The boughs scratched his face, and he held out a tiny lantern in one hand. The candle inside the lantern was burning, lower and lower. The man had long yellow hair, cracked yellow teeth, and curved yellow fingernails. He was hunched over, and his back was rounded like a bag of flour. He was so furrowed, his skin hung in furbelows from his chin and armpits and from his hips. It's a furbelows. Anyway. He held on to a tree, and pulled himself forward, and then grasped another tree and pulled himself forward, and with his rowing motion and his hard breathing, he made his way through the forest. Every bone in his feet pained like fire. The owls in the trees screeched right along with his joints as he propelled himself forward in the dark. Way off in the distance, there was a tiny flickering light, a cottage, a fire, a home, a place to rest, and he labored toward that little light. Just as he reached the door, he was so tired, so exhausted, the tiny light in his little lantern died, and the old man fell through the door and collapsed. Inside was an old woman, sitting before a beautiful, roaring fire, and now she hurried to his side, gathered him into her arms, and carried him to that fire. She held him in her arms as a mother holds her child. She sat and rocked him in a rocking chair. There they were, the poor, frail old man, just a sack of bones, and the strong old woman rocking him back and forth, saying, "There, there, 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 there." And she rocked him all through the night, and by the time it was not yet morning, but almost, he had grown much younger. He was now a beautiful young man with golden hair and long, strong limbs, and she rocked him. There, 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 there. And as morning approached even more closely, the young man had turned into a very small and very beautiful child with golden hair plaited like wheat. Just at that moment of dawn, the old woman plucked 3 hairs very quickly from the child's beautiful head and threw them to the tiles. They sounded like this, ding, ding, ding. And the little child in her arms crawled down from her lap and ran to the door. Looking back at the old woman for a moment, he gave her a dazzling smile, then turned and flew up into the sky to become the brilliant morning sun. Okay. So I'm going to read a little bit more. Things are... Okay. Now, you know what? Think about it and come up with your own conclusions. And if you like it, Women Who Run with the Wolves is a nice piece of poetry / literary something. You might enjoy it. And yeah, I'm going to take a break for a while. And bye! Love and peace.